The United States Navy SEALs are renowned for their exceptional power, skill, and versatility, making them one of the world's most elite special operations forces. Their training regimen is rigorous and extensive, as you might have seen in the movies. It's designed to prepare soldiers for the worst-case scenario in battle and equips them with physical, mental, and technical skills to prepare them for the most demanding missions. However, even with their unparalleled training and expertise, SEALs often face perilous situations in the line of duty. A recent example of this occurred a month ago, where two Navy SEAL operators were battling against the Arabian Sea waves, but ended up tragically losing their lives. Today, we're going to talk about this bizarre story, try to uncover its mysteries, and then talk about the controversy it sparked amongst naval combat experts, who posed many questions about this incident, like how did this happen? What was the point of the mission? And is there anything else to the story that we don't know about? We're going to uncover all the details about this story in this video and give you some explanations to what really happened. First, let's lay out some context for you so you can better understand what happened. 1 month prior to the making of this video, on the 11th of January 2024 to be more exact, the United States Central Command Navy Forces managed to conduct a seizing operation of a traditional sailing vessel called a dhow. According to the U.S. officials, this dhow was apparently conducting illegal transport of advanced lethal aid from Iran to resupply Houthi forces in Yemen. This transportation was part of the Houthis' ongoing campaign of attacks against international merchant shipping. We all know that from November of last year to this day, Houthi forces have been attacking every American or Israeli merchant ship that passes through that region, the Red Sea body of water that links with the Arabian Sea to be exact. The Yemeni Houthis have repeatedly targeted ships like the Maersk Hangzhou and MV Islander, and many other ships as a reaction against the ongoing war in Gaza. These attacks on trading ships belonging to the U.S. and its allies were done in an accurate, professional, and strategic military style like it's in a video game. It's like that Call of Duty 4 mission where you and Captain Price jump from a helicopter and intercept a huge vessel. In response to Israel's war in the Gaza Strip, they even attacked ships that don't necessarily link up to Israel and the United States, but they're passing through that region, coming from Asia and headed to Europe. This is done in an effort to disrupt international trade on the shortest shipping route between Europe and Asia. This shipping route holds strategic value as it links up European nations with Chinese and Indian manufactured goods. This is happening on top of what's going on in Eastern Europe. We all know that the Russia-Ukraine war has exerted significant economic repercussions on the continent due to the disruption in oil supplies from Russia. As one of Europe's largest economies and a key player in global trade, Germany, for example, heavily relies on Russian oil imports to fuel its industries and sustain its energy needs. This interruption in oil supplies has created a domino effect, impacting various sectors of the European economy. And adding the Houthi attacks on trading ships is like adding salt to the wound. This, of course, led to so many economical issues in the past few months, with everything in Europe getting more and more expensive. And you all probably saw so many Europeans rioting, like the farmers of France, etc. But we're not going to focus on that too much, as we're only talking about this to hopefully give you the necessary context behind why the U.S. Navy SEALs conducted that mission on the 11th of January in the first place. Speaking of the devil, the U.S. Navy SEALs executed a very complex boarding of the Yemeni dhow near the coast of Somalia in international waters of the Arabian Sea. This is done, according to the Americans, in an effort to stop the Houthi forces from attacking more ships passing through the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea. This mission involved a handful of military supporting assets, including helicopters and unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs, that were deployed from this huge 10-year-old vessel named the USS Lewis B. Puller. Fun fact about this vessel, the USS Lewis B. Puller, it's an American ship that was designated a TESB-3 and was commissioned in 2017. This 80,000-ton sea base serves as a crucial asset for expeditionary warfare and disaster relief efforts. Previously, it has been involved in numerous operations spanning from the Middle East to the Indo-Pacific region. It's part of the U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, the portion of the U.S. military responsible for protecting American security interests in an area stretching from the Horn of Africa to Central Asia. These days, the USS Lewis B. Puller is roaming around the Arabian Sea, and it's full of Navy SEAL operators, ready for any mission. Needless to say, the Americans seized so many things that were on that small ship during the 11th of January. Here are some of the seized items: an Iranian-made ballistic missile, cruise missiles, components, propulsion, guidance, and warheads for Houthi medium-range ballistic missiles, or MRBMs, and anti-ship cruise missiles, as well as air defense-associated components. It's crazy how an innocent-looking merchant dhow can carry this much military gear. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the first time that U.S. forces had seized Iranian-manufactured weapons that were being sent to the Houthi militants since they began launching attacks in November against commercial ships in the Red Sea. However, this operation wasn't so successful at the end, as it led to the loss of 2 highly trained Navy SEAL operators. Night fell on the 11th of January. The SEALs approached the Houthi dhow using small special operations combat boats. Geographically speaking, this mission took place exactly around the region of the Gulf of Aden, near the Somali coast. According to our research about this region, the Gulf of Aden is a deep-water gulf of the Indian Ocean between Yemen to the north, the Arabian Sea to the east, Djibouti to the west, and the Guardafui Channel, Socotra, and Somalia to the south. Why are we talking about this region in this specific sense? Well, it's because the Gulf of Aden poses significant natural hazards to maritime traffic due to its narrow and congested waters, strong currents, and adverse weather conditions. Toppled with nighttime limited vision, and you've got yourself into loads of disasters. Information about an unflagged ship headed to Yemen was spewed. Officers from the U.S. Central Command that is responsible for doing missions in the Middle East, Central Asia, and parts of South Asia sent out orders to intercept the small ship. At exactly 8 p.m., as the Navy SEALs operators were boarding the dhow boat in high seas with 8-foot or about 2.4-meter swells, and amidst the darkness of the night, they managed to close the gap between them and the Houthi ship. However, during the initial parts of the mission, when a cable ladder was thrown up so that the soldiers could climb up aboard the ship, one of the U.S. Navy soldiers fell into the rough waters of the Arabian Sea while trying to climb that rope ladder. A buddy of his bravely jumped into the water to try and rescue him. Rather than waiting to pursue with the standard Navy SEAL protocols, when stuff like this happens, he immediately jumps on the water to try and catch his teammate. But tragically, according to defense officials who were briefed on the incident, both SEALs swiftly became engulfed by the relentless force of the sea, ultimately drowning underwater. The 2 men were identified as Special Operator Second Class Nathan Gage Ingram and Special Operator First Class Christopher J. Chambers. According to U.S. reports, Ingram was the one who fell down the rope ladder while Chambers jumped into the seawater to save him. To give a little backstory about these 2 Navy soldiers, Chambers was a 37-year-old SEAL who dedicated 12 years of his life to the U.S. Navy, while Ingram was 27 years old with 5+ years of experience with the Navy since 2019. Both soldiers had served with West Coast-based SEAL units since graduating from SEAL qualification training in Coronado. So it's safe to say that they're highly qualified for the job. This is what baffled the Navy SEAL community and everyone who is considered an expert in these kind of missions. Given their extensive experience on the field of battle, given their honed skills, and also given their proven track record within the elite Navy SEAL family, it was widely acknowledged that they were exceptionally qualified for the tasks at hand. Therefore, the unforeseen turn of events made it confusing not only for their families and loved ones, but also experts that are well educated in such specialized missions. This incident sparked a huge discourse within these circles, prompting a thorough examination and a lot of investigation, which is still ongoing. Immediately after the night of the 11th of January, many voices raised questions like, how could an accident like this happen? Shortly after the accident, however, a joint search operation by naval forces from the United States, alongside naval forces from other countries like Spain and Japan, spent over a week searching more than 21,000 square miles of ocean trying to save the missing SEAL soldiers. And exactly after 10 days from the incident, all hopes for rescuing them alive have vanished. Unfortunately, both Ingram and Chambers have died in the Arabian Sea. The mission goal for the joint search operation was switched to recovering their bodies after that. U.S. Central Command made a statement after the conducting of the search, saying, "We regret to announce that after a 10-day exhaustive search, our 2 missing U.S. Navy SEALs have not been located and their status has been changed to deceased. Out of respect for the families, no further information will be released at this time." In the meantime, investigations about the incident are still ongoing, and while there isn't much detail and information about this investigation, as you heard from the U.S. CENTCOM statement, military experts have pointed out some interesting explanations, alongside some interesting theories as well. Obviously, we talked about the bad natural weather and how the region of the Gulf of Aden is rough for naval operations. This gulf is nestled within the Arabian Sea and exhibits notorious tendencies for violent waves. The region never fails to experience turbulent marine conditions. High, violent waves crashing the small Yemeni dhow from every direction can be very dangerous, while climbing an unsteady rope ladder and conducting a seizure of items inside that dhow. On top of that, the Navy SEALs were ordered at exactly 8 p.m. when complete darkness fell. So in essence, you have bad sea weather combined with the poor visibility of nighttime, and you mix that together to make a terrible cocktail of chaos. This might be a good explanation on why this accident happened, but keep in mind, these Navy SEALs are highly trained soldiers. For years, they are trained to adapt to these kind of conditions. And like we said earlier, both Ingram and Chambers aren't new to these kind of missions. They have served with the U.S. Navy for years. So it's hard to point all the blame on the rough weather and poor visibility alone. Another good take that could help explain this incident is the ultra-heavy military gear that Navy SEALs wear during combat missions. The standard U.S. Navy uniforms consist of specialized tactical gear that includes body armor that weighs 11 pounds or 5 kilograms on average, tactical vests or chest rigs to carry essential equipment such as ammunition, medical supplies if the soldier is also in the medic class, and communication devices, which add up to the carrier weight significantly. And alongside all of this gear, of course, as a Navy SEAL, you're going to carry out your primary weapon, which is typically the Heckler & Koch HK-416, weighing in about 5 kilograms, plus a secondary gun like an MK-25 pistol. It's actually mind-boggling how much weight Navy SEAL operators carry out during missions on average. It's estimated that a SEAL may carry anywhere from 20 to 45 kilograms, which translates to 44 to 99 pounds of gear and equipment during operations. Now, imagine you're trying to climb a not-so-steady rope ladder on a not-so-steady merchant boat, carrying all of that military gear at night while the waves of the Arabian Sea are raging below you. These are some of the explanations that were put out. Obviously, we do not know about other events that could have happened that led to this incident, so we cannot say for sure that these are the reasons behind the accident. What we can say is that the details of this accident have puzzled many current and former SEALs who are experts at this kind of business. For example, according to Eric Deming, a retired American Navy SEAL senior chief who performed similar missions, he expressed that all the peculiar circumstances surrounding all the events that transpired on January 11th don't make too much sense. Denning and his fellow active duty SEALs shared their own views on the raid with a simple question: why? Why did the SEAL Task Force commander decide to board a slow-moving dhow at night in dangerous seas rather than wait for better conditions? The SEALs noted that standard operating procedures mandated Navy speedboats to perform water rescues for SEALs in distress, prompting them to question the rationale behind one SEAL jumping off a boarding ladder shortly after another. This deviation from protocol raised questions for sure and prompted further inquiry into the sequence of events leading to the incident. At the moment, no one can answer questions about the mysteries involving the tragic loss of the 2 young men yet, and apparently, officials from the American Naval Special Warfare can't answer them either. One of their spokesmen said to the New York Times following the research mission, "The specifics of what happened will be thoroughly investigated. Until then, it would be inappropriate to speculate on the details of the incident as well as making assumptions as to what led our sailors to go missing." It's interesting to note that Chambers and Ingram are the first American military personnel that have died in the Middle East since the starting point of the Houthi attacking campaign against ships and vessels. Despite a month of U.S.-led airstrikes, Yemeni's Iran-based Houthi rebels remain capable of launching significant attacks. In the following weeks, they put up some serious damage to many American, Israeli, and even British ships. For example, they recently targeted a ship called the MSC Silver. They also managed to down an American drone worth tens of millions of dollars. The continued assaults by the Houthis on shipping through the crucial Red Sea corridor to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait against the backdrop of Israel's war on the Gaza Strip shows us the growing developments in the Middle East region. The raid on the Yemeni ship carrying Iranian weapons didn't stop the Houthis from targeting more and more American and Israeli ships. Many experts think that making diplomatic solutions with Iran directly could ease up the situation rather than sending out operation missions to intercept the weapon trade between the Iranian government and the Houthis. Meanwhile, analysts warn that the longer the Houthis' attacks go on, the greater the risk that disruptions to international shipping will begin to weigh on the global economy, and possibly dragging the entire region into war and maybe into a scary scenario, dragging the entirety of the world into war. Let's hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. That's all we have for you today, folks. Let us know what you think about this story in the comment section below. Also, while you're at it, please consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel.